Hey everyone, it's Mr. Canfield. We're going to pick up in activity 2.3, playing with lists. So I have my app up from when we were working on it last. I think we're going to be using this today, but I could be wrong. Okay, so as always, you can kind of look at this beginning stuff, but we're ultimately going to just be skipping it. We're going to store and access data stored in lists, and we're going to extend or apply previously created code to a new purpose. So yeah, okay. We're going to use what we had last time. Oh, and there's an optional challenge. Highly recommend those. Okay. So far in this unit, you've seen how apps handle events and make decisions. In this activity, you'll continue to work on the Charades app by adding the words or phrases that you came up with last time to act out. This information, considered data, is more complex than storing a single value, such as a score. So before we were like adding one, minusing one, subtracting one. I mean, multiply by 2, divide by 2. Now we are picking a word. In the previous lesson, you were introduced to the view and controller layer of an app's architecture. Because the Charades app requires data to be maintained, it uses the other fundamental layer of an app's architecture, its model layer. And the model layer that's where all the data is stored and hidden. We don't see that, but that's where it is. Sometimes referred to as the data layer. The model layer is the layer of the app that maintains the information the app uses. This data can be pulled from a list or database, entered by the user, or gathered from a sensor. Think back to the joke app example that you reflected on in activity 1.3. I don't actually remember that right now. Recall that the app was designed so that each time the user touched the joke button, they received a funny joke. It's a funny joke. You know when someone says it's a funny joke that it's probably not funny. There are 3 layers in the joke app example. The view layer contains the UI components such as the joke button that users can touch. The controller layer contains the program that tells how to respond when a user touches the joke button. For this example, touching the joke button triggers the controller layer to display a joke in the UI, on the UI. So what's the model layer for the joke app? And for that, it would be the list of jokes. And they're not numbers, they're, sentences. Understanding lists. Think about how your Charades app will need to display the words or phrases for the player to act out. How do you think this information should be organized in the program so that the app can maintain and display this data when instructed? If you guessed list, well, it's list. So go ahead and watch this video. I'm not going to play my video in a video. Hopefully you're going through this with me at the same time. If you're not, navigate over to Project Lead the Way, Activity 2.3, and do this. All right, let's play. No, just kidding. All right. So you've watched that. All right. For the following chores list, make bed, wash dishes, clean up room, do homework, take out trash. What is the index for clean up room? What item is at index 5? If you're not sure, it's 1 minute and 46 seconds. You can watch it. It's all there. It'll help you. All right. So now, let's go back to that app that we were working on last time. And again, if part of it's not working right now, if part of the timer's not working right, if you couldn't figure out why the procedure is not loading correctly, that's okay. We can still do stuff today and then fix it together next time. So in App Inventor, lists are created and managed using blocks called lists. Oh, I love it when directions are like that. Hey, there's these things called lists, and in the app, they're called lists. So let's go over to our blocks editor, blocks. And it's almost like there's something over here called, oh wait, look at that, lists, woo, lists. So click the lists drawer and explore all the options. Hover over each one to, well, you don't have to do literally every single one, but see what's there. We want the app to store a list of words. Let's see if we can find one that'll do that. And we're going to need to make a variable for that as well. So I'm not sure if you guys have done this. You probably have done this before. We want to make a word phrase list. Okay. I can call it whatever I want, but to kind of keep with the app, I'm going to go to variables and I'm going to make word phrase list. So what number do I want to make? Wait, no, we don't want numbers. We want a list. So I'll go into list, and I'm going to get a list. Let me make sure. Make a list. Checking it twice. No, all right. Okay, make a list. If you ever wanted to see what these are, you can click that little gear, and you can actually drag. Notice how it's making more of these. So I click that little gear. It's almost like I know what we're about to do. I remember from last time we came up with 10 words, right? 10 words or phrases of things to act out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another way to do it. Control C, Control V. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. There it is. There's my list. Now we're going to make our list. So I think I've already done. I did that. I showed you how that works, but you can read their directions and see if it's more helpful than what I did. So now we're going to bring in text. That's over here in, what do they call it? I feel like that's pink. What do they say it is? Oh, they don't say what color it is. Well, correct me if it's not pink. So for me, I like to Control C, copy the first one, and then you can press Control V a bunch of times. Save yourself a little bit of dragging and dropping. It'd be nice if it just slotted them in place, but that's fine. So now you've got space for each of these. So I'm going to put 10 in here. Let's see, the first one is my nose. And the second one is a dog in space. And then my third one is going to be the bus that never came. And this one is going to be purple. I'm picking the most difficult charades things that I can think of. Let's see, the next one is electricity. Electricity underwater. Then our next one is 3 shoes. That's not super hard. I think several people could do that one. Notice how none of these have been inappropriate. They might be strange, but they're not inappropriate. So growing to twice your original size. Let's see. Winning the spelling bee. Then invisible. And then the last one will be a loud noise. But it's charades, so you can't say anything. So those are my challenging ones. Okay. So I made my list. And now that we've set up our list, we can create code to access the list. So we've made this word phrase list, and we also, if you remember in Designer, we have the word phrase button. So it says click here for word or phrase. That button looks kind of weird. So I'm going to change the height to fill parent, because that was showing up weird. And maybe it looked, if it didn't look fine when you implemented it, then I would change that. Okay, let's see. What component should you use when you want to display text on the screen? A label component. So, word or phrase to act out. Word phrase label. This is the label. Oh, no. This down here is where that's supposed to go. So, set item labeled. Item label. Do we have? Oh, this. What color is this? All right. So, this is what we're supposed to act out. And right now the text is blank. This. So, that starts out empty, but we're going to populate it with something, and that is the item label. So if I go into blocks, when is that supposed to happen? Okay, that's important. So set item label dot text. That's fine. So over here I'll find item label, and I'll say set item label, and I'll find dot text. Set item label text to let's see, something from lists, right? Set item, I'm going to want it to be one of these. So lists. Pick a random item list. Pick a random item from a list is what that says. Or index in list. So let's see which one it wants us to do. It wants to pick a random item, okay. So if I drag pick a random item list, if I bring that in, so now it's setting item label to a random element of a list, but it doesn't know which list. So now I need to bring in, let's see, where is it? Get, right? Word name list, word phrase list. So this bit of code says pick one of these. So when does that happen? When do I pick one of these? When the start timer button is clicked, when the reset button is clicked, when the skip button is clicked. When is that going to happen? Or does it only happen once? And if you're not sure, you can go back to that list of the things the app is supposed to do and think about it. So, oh, I missed a piece. When word phrase button is clicked. Silly me. So let's word phrase button. When word phrase button is clicked. I don't think that's the only time we want to do that, though. The thing is, it's word phrase. Which one was word phrase button? Word phrase button. Word phrase. Click here for word or phrase. So when we click that, that happens. So see if when you click that, it makes a random word appear here. So they suggest collapsing everything except for word phrase button and skip button. So like, they're suggesting collapse all of this. All right, we're far enough in. I'm going to connect now and see how it's working for mine. Let me start up. This is boring, I know. You can fast forward a little bit until you see the screen move. I don't edit these videos typically because I don't have time. I'm just connecting my phone to my computer now. I used to have a Chromebook, and I don't know what happened to it. Let's see. Wi-Fi. Let's connect and see how it goes. You know what? I'll do this. This is going to surprise some of you, maybe all of you. It's so far zoomed in, it's so big. All right, let's shrink this down. Yep. Good old OBS. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay. Sorry however jarring that was, I'm sorry. All right, we have my phone now. No, don't connect to that one. Connect to my computer. What? My computer just lost internet access. No! What? What am I doing? Oh! That's not good. What in the world? Oh, now I'm going to have to edit this video. No, I'm not editing it. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to figure it out. All right. Okay. Okay, back on there. Mobile hotspot. Come on, computer. You got this, computer. This was working fine the other day. Okay. So what I do is I actually go over here and do AI Companion, and as long as your phone and your Chromebook are on the same network, you can get the App Inventor app on your phone, or really any device, and bam, there it is. Oh, well, now I see why they didn't click fill parent on this, because that's kind of too big. Let me change that back to height automatic. So it looks bad on my Chromebook screen, but here it looks pretty good. So what happens if I click here for word or phrase? Invisible! Hey, that was one of them. So it looks like I can just click. Looks like I can click and get all sorts of different things. Sorry for the lack of focus. Oh, that's so bad. Come on. Come on. All right. So let's see. Start timer. That works. Reset timer. That works. Skip. Oh, wait. Skip doesn't work. I do lose points, but it still just says electricity underwater. Reset works pretty well. Okay. So let's see what it tells me to do. Okay, sure. Review the game description, and all right, we're going to make it work. So I'm not going to tell you how to make this happen, but what's supposed to happen here when I click word or phrase? I think the timer's I think we do the timer independently, but so let's reset. So we start the timer, we click word or phrase, or maybe we do it the other way around, whatever. But you're supposed to be able to shake it, and it switches to the next word. So that's the first thing that I have to be able to have happen. And the other thing that should be happening when I press the skip button, I'm not just supposed to lose a point. I'm also supposed to get a new word. So take a few minutes to figure that out, and then I'll pick back up here, and we can talk about what to do next. So that happens when you turn things off with your phone. Okay, let's see. So, this is pretty straightforward, right? We're just going to go through this part, go to the designer, add the accelerometer sensor. Designer, accelerometer sensor, we'll drop that in, right? It's just going to go to the bottom down here. Set the properties, so enabled, checked. minimum intervals MS to 2000. All I'm doing is checking this. So what this one does is this, if you shake it and it senses it, then it waits 2 seconds before it listens again for it to shake. It says sensitivity moderate. So it takes a decent shake, not the hardest shake and not a very minor shake. So now we're going to program accelerometer sensor 1 shaking. So we'll go over to blocks and we'll find the accelerometer sensor, and when it's shaking, what's supposed to happen when it shakes? Right? Where am I? What's supposed to happen when you shake the phone when there's a phrase there? Oh, I hate how blurry that is. What's supposed to happen? I shake it and something's supposed to happen. So try that. See if you can get it to work. So my hint to you, it's if you go back and read the document for what this is supposed to do, that'll help you. And then I'm going to add that, I'm just going to remind you, if you haven't already gone and tried it. So in this accelerometer thing, that one, hey, there's me, there's me, here's me, woo. When you shake the accelerometer, the correct guesses, you shake it when you get it right. So that should go up by 1, and you should get a new word. And I think it also said it resets the timer. Resets the timer. Wait a minute. That's almost like we have a function that does that already. Okay. So don't do all of that all at once. Definitely check as you go. So I got to be better about adding comments in the future. I haven't really talked about that when we've been talking. So, and try to get rid of redundant code. Because again, we like to have programs take up as little memory as possible. So let me pull up the optional challenge. If you fly through all this, here's the optional challenge. And these are, for me, a lot of times the optional challenges are things that I want to do anyway. I don't like the way this game works right now. I think some of the functionality could be reduced to a lot simpler. Like for me, when I click start timer, I figure that's, like when I click the word button, that's the start of the game to me. So the timer should start too. Like I want all those things to happen, but I should read this. Let's see. Because the app is programmed to pick a random item from the word phrase list, the app might repeat a word or phrase that has already been played. If this happens, the players either have to pretend as though they guessed correctly and gain a point, or have to skip to the next word or phrase and lose a point. Fix your code so that instead of picking a random item from the list, the program moves through the list in order, and when it gets to the bottom of the list, it starts back at the beginning. So I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about the experience side of things. I don't like this experience. I don't like the user interface here. Sometimes they call this the user experience or UX or user interface or UI. But the extension activity here is this list, nope, not this list, have it go through the list, and then when it gets to the end, it resets. So you're going to have to, instead of picking a random item, you're going to have to do something else here. And you may have to introduce a new variable as well to help you keep track of what number in the list you're on. So great challenge. I'd love to see it if you do it. So I'm not here to help today, but I hope this video was helpful. And that's the end, right? Yeah, okay. So we are not going to do this right now. We'll do this maybe together next time. So hope this was helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.